Well, everybody, welcome to week 11 here in Corrections. This week we're going to be looking at chapter 11 in the book on the legal world, prisoners' rights. Be sure to read the chapter, watch the video, and take the quiz before midnight on Monday. Remember, those quizzes are real important. If you don't take them, you can't drop them, and I will drop some of the quizzes, so be sure you take them. It can affect your grade. And speaking of affecting your grade, be sure you do participate in the discussions. We still have a couple people that aren't participating in all the discussions. If you have not posted your original discussion to discussion 5, you've got a 0. You can get half credit if you'll go ahead and post an article and then do your follow-up post. But at this point, that's the best you can get is half credit. And that's going to affect your participation grade, which can affect your overall grade for the semester. And this week's discussions have been pretty interesting. One of the habeas corpus articles talked about a prisoner who was sentenced in 1969 to life without parole, and whether or not the Supreme Court decision from Alabama for the 17-year-old who was convicted of murder and given life without parole, where the court said that that's cruel and unusual. Juveniles can get life with parole possibility, not life without parole. I just figured it would affect all cases. I had a case that was affected by it when the decision came down. The offender had been tried twice for murder. Got life without parole the first time, and there were some issues. We then retried it, and he got life without parole the second time. And I was thinking, when this decision came down, oh no, we're going to have to try it a third time. Well, actually, what they did is they just commuted his sentence to life with the possibility of parole. So I just kind of assumed that would be all the case. But obviously, going back to 1969, that may not be the case. So that'd be interesting. I'd like to see what happens. What's the outcome of that case? As far as a lot of the lawsuits you were talking about, a lot of them had to do with medical issues. It's easy to condemn the officers or the correctional officers because of non-attention, but I also understand where they're sometimes coming from. It's kind of the boy who cried wolf type situation. People come down with a disease that we call jailitis. They don't want to be in jail, so they say they're sick, so they go to the hospital. Because that's where they would prefer to be, and some of them walk off from the hospital. So that happens a lot. Sometimes the same person does it. Third or fourth time, you just ignore them. Well, the third or fourth time, they might be sick. They might actually be having a heart attack, or might have done something. So you really can't ignore them, and it's easy to do. Now, I don't know if in any of these cases were like that, but it's a possibility. And even more when you're in the jail, sometimes it's not the first kid that, you got one that fakes illnesses a couple times, and then another one that fakes illnesses a couple times. So it's not always the same boy that you're thinking of. You get down to the third boy, and he says, oh, I've got this illness, and you're thinking about the previous two that put you through all that when they weren't sick. And you kind of let it get away with you, but it's something that's very hard to do. How do you tell whether someone's faking it or not? Someone hits those emergency buttons in the jail cells all the time. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case. Maybe this individual only hit it when there was a problem, but when you get repeated hits on these buttons, sometimes you ignore them. It's a dangerous thing to do because they could be having their baby who ends up dying because of your inaction. But just to kind of give you a little bit of insight into part of the reason for this. And then it may have just been a lazy correctional officer who didn't want to do their job. Maybe this person had never done that. You got a pregnant inmate, I'm probably going to be spending a little bit, particularly close to time of birth, I'm going to be particularly watching them because that baby didn't do anything to get in jail. His parent did, so his mother did, so, or her mother. So kind of a hard situation. And then the new law in California where they're going to actually pay for surgery for transgender. There's hardly anything I can say to that. That individual weren't in jail. The state certainly wouldn't be paying. Well, I'll say that. California, they may be. But at least in Texas, they wouldn't be paying for this elective surgery. You just, that's just, I don't know. But that is California, so I guess they can kind of do what they want to do. Okay, next we're looking at our third exam coming up November 11th. Got a couple weeks to go, but got the bonus question, and I'm going to give you the information for it now. So make sure you write it down and don't confuse it with the other online class if you're in both of my online classes. But we're going to look at, we got a statewide election November 3rd. There are multiple propositions on there. Look at Proposition 4. Proposition 4 will allow a certain group of people to hold charitable raffles. Tell me who that group of people is. So look it up and let me know who they are and go out and vote. Election day is next week, so be sure to get out there and vote for these propositions, because there are 7 of them, and some of them could be important. Just kind of look at them. I'm not sure number 3 is that important, but it is a proposition up there, so just kind of look at it and go from there. And speaking of the future, registration is now open for next semester for the spring of 2016. None of the criminal justice classes have filled up yet. Some of them may fill up before too long, but at this point there's plenty of openings. If you need a particular class, you want to sign up early just in case, particularly if you've got some of the core classes, because some of those fill up rather quickly. So just kind of look at it. If you're not sure what you need to take, get with me and I will put together a list of your degree plan, and we can go from there and see what you need to take. So just shoot me an email and we'll get that done for you. With that, let's go on with week 11.